is Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very sorry, people. This is supposed to be a light unto all nations, the society. This judge should be taken off the bench immediately. And a lot of Israelis are very upset by this ruling. As rightly they should be. It's terrible. What if it's like in America, you pick up a Latino, but you don't know he's Latino, you think he's white. Oh my God, I stooped to Latino. You lied to me. You didn't tell me your name is Pedro and not Johnny.
Right.
What, so the guy's going to jail? I mean, you know, Israel creates problems for itself. The worst enemies of Israel are Israel.
Right.
You know, their PR is atrocious. The people working in the government are atrocious. They do things first and then think about what they did later instead of thinking about what to do. They had 3 months to think about what happens when the flotilla, let's talk about the flotilla incident.
Yeah.
They had 3 months. They knew the ship was coming for 3 months. And the best they could do is paintballs and bullets.
Yeah.
They shoot first and then think, oh my God, what do we do after? Okay? Were the soldiers beat up? Yes. Do they have a right to self-defense after they're beat up? Hell yes.
Yeah.
I don't want any Israeli soldier to be killed. But why board the ship? Don't you think you could have disabled the ship? Don't you think you could have used water cannons onto the ship? What, is this the Keystone Cops? You have paintballs? They were actually shooting paintballs at first.
Yeah.
What do you, oh my God, I'm full of paint. What is that? And then you shoot them with bullets? Okay, they attacked you? Yes, of course you have to shoot them. But you don't realize the consequences after.
Yeah.
And now for 3 months we're in the mud. I'm sorry. You, the people in charge, screwed up in my name. In everyone's name. And that's not right. And you know what? If this was in America, heads would roll. The Minister of Defense should resign. It's not so much that they killed the 9 people. Yeah, if they're fighting the soldiers, they deserve to have been shot.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. You know, I'm not going to have somebody. My cousin was one of the leaders of that ship. I mean, not of the ship, of the Navy.
Yeah.
Okay? He's all over YouTube. I don't want anything to happen to my cousin. If my cousin's in danger, yes, he has to shoot. If any Israeli soldier's in danger, they have to shoot. But for Christ's sakes, you don't go just shooting people, entering the boat and starting to shoot people when they attack you. You shouldn't have been on the boat in the first place. You should have just surrounded the boat, knocked out the engine, shot water cannons on it, towed the boat in. Let the boat sit there for a while. I mean, Israelis have a habit of thinking first and acting first and thinking after. What do? Well, now they apologize to Turkey. They apologize to this. They apologize to that. Guess what? The next step, they're probably going to pay compensation to the 9 people that were killed. So, what did we get out of this? You know, every week on the show, I read a news thing that
Keep going.
that Ben Gurion is an accident waiting to happen. Every show, I read another story about 2 planes almost colliding. It's one of the worst airports in the world, next to Zaire. Go look on the aviation ratings. It is the most unsafest airport in the Western Hemisphere. Every week there's a near accident. 3 weeks in a row, 3 near accidents. And what happens? Yeah, Besitter, Altidog. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Why do we not take precautions ahead of time before some tragedy happens? And that's Israeli culture the part of Israeli culture that I really get really crazy about. Because not all the time you hear Beseder. No, you got to fix the problem. You got to take it by the root of the problem and fix it.
I wonder what that Arab guy said to that woman to get her into sex within 10 minutes.
Oh, we're back to that again? I think the woman started picking him up. He was at a newspaper stand.
Yeah.
And she started talking about everything. And
I've never
the
known,
guy ain't stupid. She saw what the woman wanted. Listen.
I've never known a Jewish woman like that. I mean, who wasn't a professional sex worker.
Dude, have you not been to Tel Aviv?
I've been, but I didn't really socialize.
Oh my God, the sex in Tel Aviv. You just walk out in the street and the street smells of sex. And you just look at somebody and 5 minutes later you're in...
It's not like that in America.
Not in America.
It usually takes
right.
hours.
No, first of all, in Israel, Israeli culture, you should know everyone stares at each other. What's the favorite pastime? Sitting in a cafe, drinking coffee and staring. And guys will stare at guys. Guys will stare at girls. It's not that they're gay. They're just interested. What do you look like? Who are you?
Right.
Israelis have the highest form of curiosity known. The whole sport is sitting in a cafe and people watching.
Right.
And then talking to the people. And you're staring at someone's eyes. You're horny. They're horny. You smile. They smile. Yalla, let's get it on.
It can happen that quickly in Israel?
It can happen that quickly.
It doesn't seem to happen that
And
quickly.
you know what? You could look like Quasimodo. Okay? Why do you think these hefty 300-pound American girls go to Israel and they come back with Israeli husbands? You could look like Quasimodo. You know? And still get laid. Can I say that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can say anything.
Okay. I mean, Israelis are very horny people. I'll be quite
Because of
blunt.
like the threat of death, maybe?
You know, they'll F a hole in a bagel.
Is it because of the fear of death? Because of the
I think it's a
bombs
live for
terrorism?
today. It's a live for today attitude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so why
Right.
should I wait?
Right.
You know, okay, you go on a date, the second date, the third date, when do we have
Right.
sex? Okay? No, in Israel, it's just live for today, because guess what? Tomorrow ain't never going to come. It's also a reason why Israelis still go out to parties and spend money,
Mm-hmm.
and Americans think twice. Well, I don't have...
Yeah.
I don't know, I really don't want to go out, I don't have money. You know, that's the difference, you know. And there's some of that Israeli culture that I think Americans need to learn. But also, on the other hand, I think there's some American culture that Israelis need to learn. You know, live for today attitude is fine, because it is true. None of us know how long we're going to be here.
I just can't get my head around a girl having sex with a guy she meets up 10 minutes later. I mean, and that happens in Israel.
It happens here too.
Really? Where?
Maybe not as much. Israeli society, okay, well, you live in a city that's not right for it, Los Angeles, first of all, because people don't walk in the streets, we all drive.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Nobody walks in LA,
Right.
in the song. But in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, people walk, people look, people stop, people are in coffee houses, people are in cafes. It's hot. You know, it's a live for today society. It's a very young society. You know, you don't have all these... I think maybe it's harder for you because you have... On one hand, you know about the sex industry.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you went from one extreme to the other. You
Yes.
went from sex industry
Yeah.
to Orthodox Jew.
Yeah.
Well, in the Orthodox Jew, of course, you don't... You know... And there's a happy medium called life in between these two
Right.
extremes.
Right.
And in Israeli society, you know, you go to the beach, you go sit on the tayelet, you go sit on a coffee house. You're gonna meet people. You know, it's a young society. It's a hip society. There's no taboos about sex. And that America could learn a lot from. Now, I didn't say have sex willy-nilly, but America could learn a lot from the taboos. There's no taboos in Israel. Israel's a very tolerant society, and that's something that they should be really proud of.
Did you notice that sexual mores were different in Israel than in the United
Well, the
States?
first time we went there,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
You know, it was backwards in the sense, okay, people would have sex,
Yeah.
like I would have sex,
Yeah.
but the same girls wouldn't go to my strip shows because, oh my God, in the beginning, because